all must serve. Starfield is great, and we all know that, and on September 30th it got even better. Hey everyone, I am Doodleman149, and today I'll be discussing the latest update that Starfield got, Shattered Space, which also happens to be the first major DLC for the game. I'll be discussing all my thoughts on the DLC so far and addressing whether or not it's worth coming back to the game for. Let's hop into this. The first thing I like to take a look at is the setting. The first thing we see in this new DLC is the Oracle Space Station. In regards to the exterior of the station, it is nothing to write home about, it is just standard fare. However, upon entering the station, you are immediately met with the first true horror vibes of the entire game. The sound design, the fact you are immediately in zero G, the corpses, the ghost, and the whole mystery of it is an excellent foray into trying to scare the player. This feels fitting given this was basically an October release. The next setting is the planet of Varun Kai in the Kavniak system. Now, initially I was going to list Dazra as the highlight of this planet, but if I'm being honest, the area outside the city is just as, if not more interesting than the city of Dazra itself. But looking at the city, I will say it looks nothing like any other city in the game. It has a strange cyberpunk feel to some of it, but it also blends with traditional art styles and architecture, which works very well for the home planet of a space cult. The area outside the city, which citizens will tell you is very dangerous, is, in fact, very dangerous. There are massive creatures wandering the extremely rocky, hilly terrain surrounding Dazra, some of which are hostile, but the biggest threats out there are the random zealots, spacers, pirates, and vortex phantoms. There are also patrols of Varun guards out there as well as civilians at holy sites, but there is a lot of hostility out there that will target you. Luckily, if you're into it, these hostile entities will also regularly fight each other. When I was delivering a package for a courier mission, I kept seeing flashes in the sky, which I thought was a visual bug, but as I explored, I found it was a battle going on in the background. The whole planet feels very dynamic. Another point I like is that all the points of interest I've discovered so far have all been unique. When Bethesda said that the whole planet was handcrafted, I was very skeptical, honestly. But even the various farms in the area are not copy and paste, which was just shocking. Every single area I went to felt brand new and handmade, and I loved it. Now, while this doesn't make up for a universe of other copy and pasted assets that some people hate, this is even a breath of fresh air for me who doesn't even mind the repeat locations all that much. Getting away from the physical setting itself, the planet itself also has a very unique aesthetic to it. The sky has hues of purple, creatures are sort of rocky and rough looking, and the architecture in the city adds an ominous tone to the entire experience, and honestly, I love it. While all the major cities in the settled systems have a unique flavor to them, Varun Kai is probably towards the top of my list of favorites. I touched on this a little with the setting, but the next point I want to talk about is the story. The story starts off as a complete mystery, unless you've watched the pre-release footage Bethesda released. You jump to a planet for whatever reason and receive a distress signal from a lone star station. It's all garbled and a mess, but you're compelled to investigate it anyway. I won't spoil what happens on board, but you end up on the homeworld of House Varun and learn of their plight. You're forced to convert to their religion to advance, but then you're basically set free in the city to explore as you please. I haven't gotten too far in the main story yet, but the side stories are compelling so far. By far, my favorite is the side quest of the duel between two brothers. It is very well acted and written, and I love how things can play out in multiple ways. It feels like a solid, old-school Bethesda-style side quest. Again, I won't spoil anything, but if you're thinking Shattered Space will offer subpar content like the Starjacker and the Vulture, you are dead wrong. This is anything but bad. Next, I'd like to talk about the enemies you encounter. This seems like an odd point to harp on, but it was something that caught me off guard when it first happened. The system itself is rated at level 35, which isn't too bad. I've been mostly breezing through the combat this playthrough with my Sidonian suit, jump pack, and Constellation helmet, but when it came to first fighting the Vortex Phantoms aboard the Oracle, they nearly killed me multiple times very quickly. I was not prepared for how much punishment these guys could dish out and take, so I, for once this go around, actually had to try not to die. It was a breath of fresh air. There are other enemies you fight on the planet itself that are also entertaining. There's plenty of hostile wildlife to battle, and there's the previously mentioned factions all fighting on the surface outside the city. By a landslide, even compared to the great Bethesda games of the past, this whole outside area feels like the most lawless wasteland we've gotten yet. Sometimes 3 factions at once will converge in an area by happenstance to battle it out. Most of the fighting out there doesn't even involve you, and it makes the planet feel legitimately dangerous and alive even when you're not actively engaging. Just driving through these war zones feels pretty great, and I'm looking forward to going out on foot sometimes just to observe these battles up close. Next, in regards to the characters, there are a number of them that I really like. Again, the Athlon brothers seem great to me, and there's a lot of named characters around the city that I can't yet interact with, but I'm looking forward to learning more about everyone. Even the people I delivered packages to for the courier mission were all actually characters, not just nameless one-note NPCs. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with them, but they felt like they were actually written by people, not AI. One negative I do have on this front though. Basically everyone in Varun Kai has the typical House Varun accent. It's a mix of Eastern European and East Asian accents to me. This is great. It adds a layer of realism that everyone in this isolated community, outside the settled systems, would all speak basically the same. It makes the world feel diverse and unique from the rest of the galaxy, which it is. It then baffles me why the one council member, Jamal Kadik, just speaks like any other American. No accent at all. It's like they didn't even ask the voice actress to try the accent.
To allow the first convert to House Varun since before any of us were born? A bit late on that, it seems.
You were not there. You did not see Anasco. It felt different. We have already wasted so much time.
You're correct. I was not there. Because you elected to travel to the spaceport on your own. And then decided this on your own.
Do not waste time with more bickering. Anasco, and by extension House Varun, suffers with every passing moment.
You meet her fairly early on in the DLC, but up until then I had complete immersion. Then after that it just shattered it. Pun intended. There were some nice quality of life changes that were made during the DLC launch as well, and I'm sure those will be nice, but so far I've not really noticed anything out of the ordinary, so check out the patch notes if you want a full breakdown, because no one wants to sit here and listen to me prattle off a list of changes. However, there are some things I did notice and enjoy. One is that my health is now visible when driving the Rev 8. I'm pretty sure before you wouldn't have any feedback on that front, so you could be smited without your knowledge of how low your health is. That's a good change, and so is the addition of the new weapons. I've yet to try them out since I'm not an energy weapon guy, but I'm interested since they seem to do tons of damage to me. And so with all that said, what do I think of this DLC? Is it any good? Well, yes, actually it is. After the two letdowns that were the Starjacker and to a much larger egregious degree the Vulture, we got treated to Escape and now Shattered Space. The game has been on a definite upswing in regards to new content. The new planet is great. I've yet to fully explore the system as a whole, so who knows how the rest of it is, but Varun Kai is great. Plus, if you're like me and like hunting down and researching all the flora and fauna on a planet, Varun Kai has tons of fauna to find. Some of them are just variants of the same creature, but there's still a lot to scan. The city has a unique aesthetic unlike anywhere else in the settled systems, the story has been intriguing, but the side stories are just as compelling so far. Characters on the whole are enjoyable and well acted, with some outliers in both the good and bad extremes. Again, Jamal kinda sucked. The enemies and surrounding area are tough and deadly, a nice change again from the rest of Settled Space. And the new quality of life stuff is all solid. Is it worth the $30? For me, considering I got the premium edition, absolutely. But for someone outright buying it, if you don't already like Starfield, I'm not entirely sure this will pull you back in by itself. It addresses some complaints, but only on the micro scale. And so that's all today, Explorers. Starfield's latest big update just dropped and it's basically fantastic. They delivered both quality and quantity here, and the introduction of Varun Kai, expanding their lore and the handcrafted world itself may bring some players back. But honestly, this is a DLC for Starfield fans and I am all here for it. What do you think of Starfield's latest update? Are these updates too little too late, or are you excited for all the potential they bring? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you're all enjoying the game so far, and I hope it is everything you wanted it to be. So with that, be sure to keep an eye out for my future Starfield content and like and subscribe for more. I've been your guide, Doodleman149, and I will see you again, sometime, somewhere, amongst the stars.